Picture a vast expanse brushed in endless browns and golds, where the land stretches out to infinity, unbroken by forests or flowing streams. Overhead, the sun blazes in a cloudless sky, its heat unrelenting, transforming the ground below into a wavering illusion. The earth is parched and fractured, the wind sighs through brittle shrubs, and dust swirls endlessly, coating everything in a fine sandy film. Streams appear only after rare, brief downpours, vanishing almost as soon as they arrive, leaving behind only the memory of water. Survival here is a daily challenge. Lizards scurry from shadow to shadow, insects take refuge beneath stones, and hardy, spiny plants cling to life. Even the birds remain quiet, saving their strength. The larger creatures have moved on, chasing the water that vanished long ago, leaving only faint tracks in the dust behind them. This place isn't lifeless, but it's fading fast, its energy slipping away under the harsh sun, growing weaker with every passing day. The core issue is clear: when water finally arrives, it doesn't linger. It disappears before it can truly revive the land. Rainwater races across the surface, carving deep channels and gullies, sweeping away the precious topsoil and leaving the earth even more barren. Each storm brings more destruction, stripping away what little life remains and eroding the land's last defenses. The land is losing its lifeblood, its vitality carried off by every flash flood. Without water, plants vanish and the soil crumbles to dust. Without plants, insects and animals disappear too, their homes and food sources erased. Each loss sparks another, setting off a chain reaction of disappearance that ripples through the ecosystem. With every season, the desert grows more barren, its silence deepening. It's a striking yet solitary place, teetering on the edge, a quiet reminder of what happens when water won't stay and life is forced to withdraw. The ties that once held this landscape together are unraveling, roots snapping, connections dissolving in the parched soil. The cycle of decline continues, pushing the land ever closer to emptiness as the desert slowly spreads. This is a world on pause, waiting for transformation, hoping for the return of water and the revival of life. Then one day, something changed. A family of beavers arrived. Their presence was unexpected, almost like a whisper of hope carried on the wind. No one knows exactly how. Maybe they traveled up a forgotten waterway, or perhaps humans brought them back, hoping to restore what was lost. However they came, their arrival marked the beginning of something new. Small but purposeful, the beavers saw not a dying land, but opportunity. Where others saw only dust and silence, they saw the potential for life. They were architects, engineers, carrying a blueprint passed down through generations: find moving water and slow it down. Their instincts guided them, as if they knew exactly what this place needed. They explored the shallow creek, leaving new tracks in the mud, searching for the perfect spot to begin their work. Every paw print was a promise of change. The few remaining desert creatures watched curiously as the beavers gathered sticks and branches. For the first time in a long while, there was movement and purpose along the water's edge. Their actions seemed odd, but there was a method, a new energy stirring in the landscape. The desert, so long stagnant, began to feel alive with anticipation. The beavers were a promise, a sign that things could be different. Their determination was quiet but unwavering. In a place defined by scarcity, they brought industry and change. Their work was slow, but every branch and every dam was a step toward transformation. While the sun and wind took things away, the beavers had come to build. They worked beneath the relentless sun, undeterred by the harshness around them. They were about to challenge the very character of this desert. Their presence alone was a quiet rebellion against the emptiness. Their goal: ask the water to stay for a while, to persuade the stream to linger, to nourish the land once more. With that simple act, they set in motion a transformation. Water began to pool, and the creek's song grew louder. The tired, thirsty land was about to become vibrant and full of life once more. Green shoots appeared, and hope took root in the soil. The beavers' arrival was quiet, but its impact would be profound. Their gentle presence was the beginning of a new era. They were not just visitors, they were here to stay. Their lodges became new homes, symbols of resilience and renewal. The desert, long silent, was about to awaken. The dawn brought new sounds, new life, and a sense of possibility. The beavers' work would ripple outward, changing everything. Each day the water spread a little farther, touching places that had been dry for years. In a landscape of loss, they brought hope. The desert story was being rewritten, one stick and one drop of water at a time. The first stick placed in the creek was the first step toward renewal. It was a small act, but it carried the weight of a promise for the future. The desert was ready for a new story, and with the beavers' arrival, that story had just begun. The beavers' work began with their sharp teeth, nature's lumberjacks, felling small trees in minutes. Their powerful jaws and ever-growing incisors made them perfectly suited for this task, allowing them to cut through wood with surprising speed and precision. They gnawed, chewed, and dragged branches to the water's edge, working together as a family. Each member played a role, from the youngest kits learning by watching, to the adults hauling the heaviest branches, all united by a shared purpose. Construction started by driving large sticks into the stream bed, forming a sturdy foundation. These posts anchored the dam, bracing it against the current and giving the structure its initial shape. They wove smaller branches and leaves between the posts, creating a dense, flexible barrier. This intricate weaving not only added strength but also allowed the dam to flex and bend with the water's force. At night, they worked efficiently, weaving a giant waterproof basket across the stream. The darkness offered safety from predators, and the cool air kept them energized for hours of labor. Next came waterproofing. The beavers gathered mud, stones, and wet vegetation, plastering them into the dam's gaps. This natural mortar sealed the structure, helping it withstand both water and time. They pushed and patted mud into every crevice, making the structure nearly watertight. Their nimble paws worked tirelessly, smoothing the surface and plugging even the smallest holes. This was ongoing work, constantly patching leaks and strengthening the dam. Beavers returned daily, inspecting for damage and making repairs, ensuring their home remained secure. The result, a strong, resilient structure that slowed the stream from a rush to a crawl. The dam tamed the water, turning a once wild current into a gentle, controlled flow. Behind the dam, water pooled, forming a calm, deep pond. This new habitat provided safety from predators and a place to store food for the winter. The beavers hadn't just built a wall, they'd created a reservoir. Their efforts transformed the landscape, turning a narrow stream into a thriving aquatic ecosystem. In the heart of a thirsty land, they made a place for water to rest and gather. Even in dry regions, their dams brought life, creating oases where none existed before. The dam was alive, adapting to the changing flow. Beavers constantly adjusted its shape, opening channels or blocking leaks as the seasons changed. The beavers' instinctual engineering brought water back to the desert. Their work revived parched landscapes, supporting plants, insects, and countless other animals. Their work was the foundation for everything that would follow. The transformation had begun, and with it, a new world of life and possibility emerged. The effect was immediate. The creek, once a fleeting trickle, became a growing pond. Water, forced to slow down, spread across the cracked earth, soaking deep into the ground. The land, dry for so long, began to drink again. The pond acted like a slow, steady drip, rehydrating the soil and replenishing the underground water table. Around the pond, a green ribbon of damp earth appeared, stark against the parched desert. The slowed water dropped its sediment, creating a rich layer of mud, nature's fertilizer. The pond filtered and cleaned the water, trapping silt and nutrients. The air grew cooler and more humid, a small microclimate forming around the water. The harshness of the desert softened near the pond. This subtle shift was a signal to the natural world. Water had returned. The beavers had created a sanctuary, a new oasis in the dust. Soon, the refugees of the drylands would begin to arrive. The landscape was changing, visibly and invisibly. The beaver pond was more than water, it was hope. The desert was ready to come alive again. Plants were the first to respond. Green shoots appeared around the pond's edge, willows and cottonwoods sprouted, roots reaching into the damp soil. Sedges and cattails grew in the shallows, forming a lush border. Insects followed, dragonflies, mayflies, butterflies, filling the air with life and sound. Birds returned, their songs echoing through new thickets. Ducks and frogs colonized the pond, while deer and predators soon followed. The ecosystem reawakened, each new arrival strengthening the web of life. The beaver pond became the heart of a revitalized community. The desert's resurrection had begun. This isn't a fairy tale, it's real, and it's happened in the American West. In Nevada's Susie Creek, decades of erosion left a barren, lifeless channel. Beavers were reintroduced, and they did what they do best. They built dams. Ponds formed, water slowed, and sediment filled the gully. Within years, the landscape transformed, lush meadows replaced dry earth, the water table rose and willows thrived. The creek, once dry in summer, now flowed year-round. Wildlife returned, trout, songbirds, deer, and antelope flourished. The revival was astonishing, a testament to nature's resilience. The success at Susie Creek showed that sometimes the best solution is to let nature's experts work. Beavers proved that even the driest places can bloom again. Their quiet industry brought life back to a broken land. The lesson: restoration is possible even in the harshest places. Beavers are a keystone species. Remove them and the ecosystem collapses. Their dams create wetlands, homes for hundreds of species. Beaver wetlands filter water, trapping sediment and pollutants, improving water quality. They act as natural defenses against drought and flooding, storing water and releasing it slowly. Their work increases biodiversity, cleans water, and stabilizes landscapes. In a changing climate, beavers make environments more resilient. Protecting and restoring beavers is one of the most effective ways to heal the land. They are not pests. They are partners and masters of restoration. By doing what they've always done, beavers solve some of our biggest environmental challenges. Recognizing their value is the first step toward a healthier planet. The beaver's story is a lesson for us all, a message of hope for a world facing water scarcity. Nature can heal itself, if given the chance. Beavers are being reintroduced worldwide, bringing life back to tired rivers and wetlands. We can learn to work with nature, not against it. Small, persistent actions like a beaver's first stick can lead to immense change. The ripple from a beaver pond can spread far, carrying hope and renewal. Even a dying land can be revived with the right architects. Sometimes the best solutions are already waiting in nature.